presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 and use the promo code. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to Light Years, a draft night edition of Light Years. Tommy, the Warriors made some picks. The second round is over. The draft is over. Can I just say one thing? I fucking love the draft.
Oh, you love it so much, dude. Nobody in the fan base was more excited than you when they traded back and got 2 picks in the second round instead of 1.
Hey, was I not telling you I think they would walk away with 2 picks in this draft? There's there's obviously like smart financial reasons to do it. It's a cheap way, or it's an efficient way. Efficient's the word used in the industry. It's an efficient way to fill out the back end of your roster. But also, like, I actually think Mike's pretty good at this too.
I mean,
it's a different skill than picking at the top of the draft, but like since he's been the top guy, they've gotten guys who they can use at the back of the draft. And most teams don't get players you can use in the 50s.
No, he's done it 2 times now. He did it in 2023 and he did it in 2024 with Trace and Quentin Post. And like, say what you want about those guys, they definitely have their flaws. There's a reason they got picked in the 50s. But at the end of the day, they both have provided regular season rotation minutes. You know, like it's not an easy thing to do. So they picked twice again in the 50s. It was 52 and 59, and then they moved up to 56 to get Richard. Is it Richard or Richard? Because I heard different pronunciations. He's not French,
Richard,
but
Richard.
Yeah. I mean, I heard different pronunciations during the NCAA tournament.
Can't trust the South. They just make up their own enunciations on things. But I also respect it. Significantly cooler than just
100%. But in a general sense, I think I like both guys that they picked. Tui seemed like a BPA pick. I mean, a lot of the big boards that I looked at, like Sam Vecini had him at 38, and they got him with the 52nd pick in the draft. So look, that's probably a BPA pick. And then they went more with like, hey, let's get a winner. Let's get a dog with their second pick. So who knows what they're going to be, but in general, I'm not mad at it.
What's funny with Richard is, I was thinking about discussing him when we did our draft preview, but there's so many players and you get in a conversation and let's be honest, like Ant's just compelling and fun to talk to. So I just forgot half the players I want to talk about in general. But like, I don't know about you, but like for me, Florida was obviously they won the national championship, but they were also like very easy to get sucked into because of the style of basketball they play.
Yeah.
Like Walter Clayton, I thought the Warriors had a shot at picking him. I gave up on that around the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite Eights. Elijah Martin was a guy that I like. I pretty much liked every one of their guys. Every one of their guys profiles as an NBA player, in my opinion. And I think the thing when I zoom out on this on both picks, it's not about ceiling for them. They both look like guys who can legitimately make an NBA rotation. And it might not happen year one, but they got guys in the 50s who, if Alex Tui is a 10-year NBA rotation player, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised. And, they've got on a nice little run with Trace and Quentin Post getting second round picks who played a little bit here, but like, just go look at like the actual history of the second round. You're lucky to get a rotation guy in the 30s, much less the 50s.
Absolutely. And what I'm kind of interested to see is like, do they two-way these guys? Do they use guaranteed contracts on them? We talked around it a little bit last time, but I don't know what they're going to do contract-wise with these guys, and I'm not sure they know yet because there's still a lot of things that have to play out, and depending on the Kuminga situation, depending on what guys they acquire in free agency, they might give both of them contracts. If they can't fill out the roster, they might end up giving one a two-way if they get like a lot of guys they like in free agency. So I think a lot of it is still up in the air, but I think I would be pretty shocked in general if they gave both of them a guaranteed contract. We got that comment saying here that Vecini said they promised Richard a two-way. So Richard. I'm going to mispronounce it the entire pod just to let people know.
Yeah. And to your point, I don't think they need to make a decision about that right now. They have their rights.
Yeah.
Specifically the way the Warriors use two-way guys. Like if you're on a Warrior two-way, you're going to play.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter at this point. It's just to me, the main takeaway is third draft Dunleavy's had in the second round, third straight year he's taking guys where my first instinct on them is, oh, they're Warriors players. I see it. You know, Alex Tui, he profiles exactly like a Warriors. He profiles like Guy Santos, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They probably think he's better than Guy, and he might be better. And some draft guys think like he might be the sleeper of the second round because he's young and just like the feel. And honestly, like 6'8", 6'9" with feel and ball handling is not easy to come by. And even if they're a little slower or whatever, like that tends to play, right? But like you watch him and you read one line of his scouting report, you're like, that's a Warrior player. High passer, gives a shit, competes, knows how to play in the 5-man offense. You know, like
we're just getting a bunch of guys who are going to run in circles and pass Steph the ball until he shoots.
That's really the dream. The dream is Steph and 14 connectors. That's what I'm looking for. Screen pass. Steph shoots the ball or his hamstring blows out. One or the other.
I mean, what this does tell me, the guys that they picked, and not that they were going to take some home run swing in the second round, but they didn't go for Bryce Williams, right? You know, like they didn't, and who's a scorer. What it does tell me in a sense is they're relatively confident. They have some type of scoring punch coming. I guess it could be Kuminga. They just bring him back, but like maybe some of the stuff in the works, and this is just me being optimistic and looking glass half full. Maybe some of the stuff they have in the works, like, okay, we are getting the names we've discussed so many times, Kobe White, Naz Reid, whoever. They think they're going to be able to find more scoring punch. So let's just make sure the back end of our rotation is good in case we do have to send out a Guy or a TJD, whatever. Let's get some more guys who can fill that back end of the rotation. So if we have to include those guys in some type of trade package here in the next couple of weeks, we're not totally barren in those spots.
And I think the other thing is, and this has been a conversation for a while now, but it's like the direction the NBA is going is every team has one, maybe two stars who get to freelance. And everyone else, you need to be able to make quick decisions, hit shots, and defend. Yep. That's it. I don't need you exploring what you can do when you're the fourth option. Your fourth option, you need to be what Andrew Wiggins was for the Warriors, which is actually why he was so successful. He slotted down very comfortably as a third, fourth option. In fact, I would say he's probably most comfortable in that role. And I'm just using him as an example because he's a talented guy who's more talented than being a fourth option. But like, you can go down the list looking around the league. You know, we're watching the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shea is obviously their superstar. Jalen Williams is their second option. Everyone else they have around them, quick decisions, shoot the ball, defend. They do two of those three things at a high level, if not all three, right? Like Lu Dort defends, shoots the ball pretty well, and doesn't try to dribble, like pretty much ever. Alex Caruso, one of the best connected passers in the league, can stick an open shot, and obviously a phenomenal defender. Like that's kind of what you're looking for out of your role players. And I'm not saying Alex Tui is going to be Caruso or Lu Dort or anything like that, but like you watch him play and your immediate takeaway is this guy knows how to make the extra pass. He knows how to play off of star caliber players. And he basically knows how to play a role, which is really what we're talking about.
Yeah, and real quick here, I know a lot of Warriors fans, we talked about Zion James a lot. Alex too, he was above him in a lot of big boards. So again, this looked like a value pick for the Warriors. And like I do like a lot of his traits. He doesn't do anything great. Like you're saying, he is a Warriors role player, does a lot of things at a good level, but nothing like outstanding. But I think the overarching point, like you're saying, is like big threes are dead. And like for the most part, unless you really, when was the last time a big three really worked? The Warriors, it did with KD, but there was a special circumstance there because you had Steph on a bargain contract. That's the only reason you're allowed to get KD.
And Clay's a different type of star too.
Totally.
Like he's basically the best version of what we just talked about. Like he's like the apex gold star of a 3-and-D player.
He is the best version ever of a 3-and-D player, truly. Like that is really his claim to fame. He is the best version ever of that archetype. But a big three, it doesn't really work if you go back through NBA history. Like most of the dynasties, they didn't, especially it's more of a contract thing, right? Like you can't fit 3 essentially max or close to max contracts and then fill out the rest of your roster sufficiently. We talked about this with Ethan probably a couple months ago now. Basketball has become like kind of a weak link sport in terms of, you know, if you have weak links out there, it's much easier to expose them in the modern game because of how much space there is in the modern game, as opposed to playing in this confined box like they did in the 90s, where like guys could hide a little bit more. You didn't have to necessarily be able to shoot or like defend in space. If you can't do those things now, you're going to get exposed and you're going to get played off the floor. So the modern kind of solution to that is, okay, you're going to have your 2 stars, then everybody else just kind of has to be able to dribble, pass, shoot at a sufficient level and make quick decisions and defend.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of what comes down to. And I actually think like someone in the chat just mentioned, like, you know, and you've been talking about Tui. For some draft guys, Tui was like the ultimate sleeper, like one of the better, like high upside guys. So I don't want to like sell the upside of him short. Like it is kind of a nice little gamble that you might have got the guy who projects to be way better in the second round pick. But I think the thing I like about him most is I have a hard time seeing a guy like him busting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they called on the broadcast. Someone's like, he's like Chetty Osman. And I'm like, I could see it, you know, like that's probably not the best case outcome for him, but that's also a guy who could contribute on winning teams for 6 to 8 years, even if it was in like a 12-minute per game role, you know, smart, knows how to play off of other guys, defends well enough to stay on the court, can stick enough shots. Rotation player. It's the 50s. If you're getting the 9th man of your rotation in the 50s, that's a win.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge win. And you know, Vicini apparently is saying he's one of the 5 best defenders in the draft, and that alone gives you such a solid floor. If you can come in and be a positive impact guy defensively from day one, and who knows if you can, we'll see that within the next. We'll see it Summer League, and then we'll see more kind of in preseason and see if he can actually stick in the rotation year 1. But if you are able to defend at a positive level and defend in space well and make the right rotations defensively, it gives you such a good chance to stick in the NBA. And he does have the physical tools, 6'7" and 3/4 height, about 6'11" wingspan. So it's going to be about how he can fill out the rest of the offensive game. And I know a lot of people are disappointed they didn't just stay with 41 and take Kobe Bryant. And I like Kobe Bryant. Guy can shoot the hell out of the ball. But also, if you're like, me personally, I would rather trust a young guy that can defend and kind of do all the other things than a young guy that can shoot. If you're like talking about being part of a rotation, because shooting is such a funky thing, right? Like he's a great shooter, and I really don't have many doubts that Kobe Bryant is going to shoot the ball well in the NBA, but can he do the other things to stay on the floor? Number one. And then number 2, is he a guy who hits shots in big moments? Like that stuff matters a lot. Whereas like it's such an old adage, but defense does travel. Like you're not going to forget how to defend in a big moment. Whereas you might freeze up and miss a couple open threes in a big moment.
I will also say you can find guys who can shoot and do nothing else who've proven they can do in the NBA. Doug McDermott's a free agent.
Duncan Robinson.
Is Kobe Bryant going to be a better shooter than Doug McDermott?
Year 1, probably not. And he's not going to know.
Maybe. I mean, like, that's kind of like part of the calculus to your point that you're doing. You're like, you have to kind of feel like he's a special fucking shooter.
And he might take
him. And to take him, if your calculus is he does nothing else at an NBA level other than shoot, and then like he tries hard. You know, like that's basically it. It's like I'm betting on the shot being real and him having enough size and energy to survive outside of that. So like the Duncan Robinson is actually a good way to put it, right? Like because Duncan Robinson can legitimately shoot the piss out of the ball, like one of the best in the league. And it's not that he can defend or do anything else at a high level. It's just he's 6'7", he plays hard, he's smart, so he can survive more than like a 6-foot version of Duncan Robinson, right?
Right.
And that's how he stays in the league. And that's how he's been in the league for what, 8 years now or 7 years?
Yeah.
He's probably gonna be in the league for another 3 to 4. You can have a 10+ year career, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough. To your point, it's tough when you're kind of a one skill guy, and that one skill is just one offensive thing. To your point, it's a lot easier if you're a one skill guy and that one skill is defense, and it's like, well, you can kind of shoot it, you know?
Yeah. And especially a guy like Tui, in my opinion, where he is a smart cutter, he is a smart passer. Like he will function well within the Warriors system as long as he like is athletic enough. And like he doesn't seem unathletic. He's not a hyper athlete, but there's some size and some length and enough athleticism there to where it just feels like he's a guy that will figure it out, even if it's not year one. Whereas like Brea, maybe he has a 12-year career as a great shooter, or maybe he's out of the league in 2 years because he's not physical enough. He literally can't guard anybody in isolation. It just feels like more of a risky proposition. And that's not what the Warriors are going for right now. And yes, you can go get a Doug McDermott in free agency, or maybe Miami doesn't guarantee Duncan Robinson. Svi Mykhailiuk. Yeah. And that guy's probably gonna be on a vet min. He can shoot the piss out of it. And so if you have to throw him out there, Lindy Waters last year, you know what I mean? Like Lindy had proven that he could shoot in the NBA. And so they got him because
if you're looking for back end of the roster, like your job is literally just to shoot, and you're not going to play more than 5 straight minutes because the defense will pick on you, or the other side will pick on you.
Yeah.
You can find those guys.
Yep, exactly. Because you're just throwing them out there for 4 minutes with Jimmy for some extra spacing.
You know what Alex Tui's going to probably do? Not tomorrow, but next week. You can go over to our friends at Body Spec, get DEXA scan. The Warriors use Body Spec to get DEXA scan to see where their bodies are at fitness-wise. And what I think is cool is Body Spec has made that same treatment that they give the Warriors, that they give the Giants, that they give the San Jose Sharks, they give the San Francisco 49ers. They're making it accessible for you for only $45. So what's a DEXA scan? The highly accurate method of measuring your body's composition. Obviously, the famous one's body fat percentage. Draft night, we're all like, oh, it's got 4% body fat or whatever, that sort of thing. Everyone knows that stuff, but it's also, lean muscle mass, visceral fat, like basically a diagnosis of your body that's a little more accurate than when you stand on a scale and it says you're 194 or whatever you weigh, right? And they've made it accessible for everyone. Only $45. These things usually cost $300, $400, $500. And they got locations, not just on the Embarcadero, but in the marina. You may go hit it up before you go out so your scan results look better than after 10 to 15 cocktails. And more importantly, they got mobile vans. They'll come to you anywhere in the Bay Area. They'll come to you anywhere in LA. Mobile vans in the Bay, LA. Guys, it's a no-brainer. AI technology. Start your fitness journey. They'll email your results. It's going to be the 45 best dollars you spent. Light years 45, bodyspec.com.
Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by Factor. When was the last time you had a meal that was both healthy and delicious? Made you feel good, right? Have you ever had the same feeling while taking a supplement? Well, now you can with Factor Form. Most of us dread drinking greens. I know I do. I've tried juicing. I've tried smoothies. Nothing really works for me. But with Factor Form, they've changed the game. You'll actually crave your greens. As the sister brand of Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed hand in hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Daily Greens is a greens powder by Factor Form you look forward to drinking. Just one scoop delivers 100% of your daily nutrients, filling nutrient gaps, supporting whole body health, and helping you feel your best. Within days, you'll feel a difference. More energy, less bloat, sharper focus. I can attest the sharper focus thing. It's a daily habit that feels like a win because it tastes good and makes you feel even better. So start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/lightyears to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/lightyears for 40% off plus free shipping. Factor75.com/lightyears.
So just to sum it up, you're 100% comfortable with them trading back instead of taking Kobe Brea? Because we discussed Kobe Brea in the pod.
I like Kobe Brea. I do. I wouldn't have been mad if that was the pick, and I never would hate more shooting. But I've gone back and forth on this so many times in the offseason where I'm like, God damn, they need guys who can put the ball in the bucket. And then I'm like, fuck it, just build an elite defense and just get a bunch of guys who know how to play. I think in where I've landed now is like, I'm not going to trust a rookie to shoot the ball. I'm not going to trust a rookie to shoot the ball. I think that's kind of where I land. Like I'll trust rookies to do the dirty work, to play hard, to be competitive, to make the right play. But like, there's just the speed of the NBA game, especially for shooters, can jump on them so quick that if you're like bringing a guy like Kobe Brea, if you bring in a shooter, it's like, okay, you almost want him to help day one in a way. Whereas I'd rather have them go find shooting on the free agency market and draft guys like this who are just going to do the dirty work, be really competitive, make the right play every time. And those are the two guys they got. I mean, I think this is a good way to put it. Winston in the comments. So we drafted Australian Guy Santos and the replacement for GP2. Yeah, they kind of did. I mean, they kind of did. Now you don't really have to bring GP back because he's kind of declining anyway. And now if you do have to throw Guy in a trade, you have insurance for him.
I think Richard's a better shooter than GP2 also.
Way
not saying he's anywhere near the defensive ace he is yet, but I mean he's got some KCP to him. Got some Malik Beasley. Sure. There's probably 20 guys who got drafted tonight that teams are talking themselves into. He could be the next KCP or Malik Beasley type. But that's an archetype everyone's looking for, long shooting guard who can defend and hit shots, right?
Yeah. And
point of attack defender who can hit shots.
Yeah. And is he going to do that year one? Probably not. Not a great 3-point shooter in college, but good volume, 5 attempts a game, 36%. Had a year shooting at 40. Yeah, he's a dog.
Big game, I don't know how to value it, but did you watch those games? He was their best player.
He was their best player in the national championship. Yeah, he was their best player in the national championship. Clayton kind of closed it out late, but he was struggling until then. I think Richard had 18 points, a couple assists, a bunch of boards, a couple steals, a block, 1.7 steals a game at Florida this year. And this is the best shooting indicator to me. 83% from the free throw line in college.
Yeah.
Never shot below 80%. So the touch is there. It's probably just a reps thing with him. He might not shoot it great day one, but you figure in a couple years, he's going to be mid to high 30s on very solid volume.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to over-index it, but I certainly don't want to under-index it. Guy who made winning plays in games that mattered, to your point, he hit big shots in the national championship game. Mm-hmm. I also remember key defensive they were down 10 points?
Yeah. Something like
in the Final Four with 5 minutes to go. It looked like they were going to lose. I was pretty butthurt because I was riding the wave, bandwagoning like a maniac.
Yep.
He made some big defensive plays there, and to your point, Walter Clayton took them home in that game. There's something to be said for that. Winning players tend to win at every level.
No, it's a real thing. And, at the very least, we know the big moments aren't going to scare them. And obviously the lights are brighter in the NBA, but it doesn't get much brighter than the NCAA Final Four. The players are better, the speed of the game is faster, but as many people watch the Final Four as they do the NBA Finals. I can guarantee you that. I don't know. I don't want to get into ratings talk, but
3x. 4x.
Yeah, exactly. It outrates it. It outrates it. And it's usually in an arena that seats 80,000 people.
It's intimidating. It's very intimidating to walk into those neutral site football arena. Football arena is fucking insane to shoot in. Just all your depth perception off.
Yes, big time.
I do not envy any player having to play in that because it's not an accurate way to assess someone's basketball ability. But I
love that we're just going old school scout mode with all of this. Moneyball. Do you have dog?
It's okay. They tried to go the other way and it didn't work for them.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with it. And, I'd be remiss if I said the acquisition of Richard did not cost them the rights to our guy, Justinian Jessup. Warrior legend. I was so in on him for a moment. Yeah.
So in. It was he's just the next Clay.
He can shoot.
It was still kind of the height of Warriors exceptionalism in a way, because
it was the height of the pandemic. I was watching NBL on late night streams because I couldn't leave my house, and I was just looking for anything. I was like, "Hey, this dude can fucking shoot." Our guy Luke was hitting us up in the Discord talking about Jessup's got dog in it. He does. It's he might just be a half step too slow for the NBA. But.
Yep. Yeah. I mean. We got to play a tribute to do we want to throw the Australian national anthem on? What do we want to do here? We got to honor him somehow.
I don't know. How do you think he'd want to be honored? Should we throw up a highlight reel of him standing in the corner wide open in Summer League and Mac McClung, Kuminga,
what was Sky Bowman out there?
Never passing the ball.
Was Sky Bowman out there with him?
No, it was McClung, Kuminga, and it might have been Wiseman, but it was definitely like look, it wasn't a priority. It's part of the reason it's hard to value at summer league. You know,
what
do you want to do in summer league? Like get Jessup shots or see what Kuminga has? Obviously, I want to see what Kuminga has. You know, like it's not a priority. And then you throw Mac McClung out there. It doesn't matter what you want. He's going to get into his own anyway.
Yeah, so, no. Mac McClung is playing basketball for Mac McClung and Mac McClung only.
Exactly. So maybe we'll throw up the Australian national anthem for him.
I wish we had like one of those good TikTok edits, but I don't think anybody's making those for Destiny and Jessup.
Oh, I guarantee it exists. Someone's doing it.
I mean, it's not like the Pat Spencer one. That's the GOAT.
The Pat Spencer one is hard to beat. There's just no error,
Mm-hmm.
There's just not any way around it. So, Justinian Jessup. His little tribute here. I also want to do a tribute of, the best Warriors.
We are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth fertile. Our home is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts.
That's enough for me. Yeah. Have you ever heard the Australian anthem before?
Quick story. My junior year of college, I had a teammate from Australia. So for senior night, and I had teammates from Serbia. So for senior night, we played the American national anthem, and then we played the Serbian national anthem, and then we played the Australian national anthem. So I have heard it before. Not my first time, but I didn't remember what it sounded like. That's a long time ago. That's like 11 years ago.
So yeah, the Serbian anthem I can get behind.
Incredible.
There's specific countries that have been under wars, Eastern Europe, Latin America, stuff like that. Their anthems are pretty intense.
A lot of passion.
Yeah, it's just kind of a fascist war song, but it makes you want to go fight for your country.
Let's move on. Let's get out of this territory right now.
What was I gonna say?
Okay, hold on. Our guy Harry in the comments, sitting here at work in Australia, hearing the anthem has me pissing myself right now. You're welcome, Harry. Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate you, brother. All right, so look, obviously the best Warriors second round pick all time. The Warriors actually have a great second round record. The best really is obviously Draymond. Like it's very hard. Like, okay, Denver can beat it with Jokic. Like the Spurs,
San Antonio.
But like he's a top 5 second round pick of all time. Who are your other favorite Warriors second round picks?
Oh man, I mean, Festus was good for a little bit of time. Loon is
technically first round.
Who, Festus?
Yeah,
he was 30. Yeah, so was Loon, and Loon was 32, right? Or 30 as well.
Loon was a first round pick too.
Yeah. God,
I think the ones during the dynasty years,
Ogden Kuzmic.
Got to give Pat McCaw's love.
He was good, man.
I'm still surprised the way his career went because he was so good as a rookie. Like as a role, like him not being a star, like not surprising. No. Him kind of washing out of the league in 4 years, very surprising.
It felt like something weird happened there because he had an awesome rookie year, got finals minutes, and it was easy to. Jordan Bell's a great call, Paratosh. Thank you. It was easy to like get minutes on those teams and not look out of place because they were so good. But then McCaw went and had a great summer league. Like he was progressing how you should. Like he scored 22 a game and they sat him out after the first couple of summer league games after his rookie year. And then he gets the back injury, he had some weird stuff with Kerr, and it just it fell apart so quickly. It feels like it wasn't really a talent or a basketball thing with him. It was like extenuating circumstances,
Yeah, it's probably the truth, to be honest. Because to your point, how do you go from being a contributor on one of the best teams of all time?
Yeah.
And he was. I remember being at the closeout game in the finals.
He was really good.
He was in defending Kyrie during what was the key run to turn the game in the second quarter. He was in their 8-man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
He was an important piece for them. I thought he was going to be I don't want to call him Iguodala, but I thought it was going to be like that type of piece for them. And,
Sure.
you know, it turned the other way. Jordan Bell's a great call. Jordan Bell,
Great call.
probably the height of my Warriors exceptionalism.
Yeah.
He never really lived up to it, but he did have some amazing moments in the 2018 playoffs against the Rockets. He was excellent. He kind of pioneered the through the leg relocation pass to Steph.
Yeah,
Like they
he
did a lot of
did.
like.
I mean, Bogut, but like Jordan Bell kept the lineage alive.
He was so him and Looney were really good. Looney was better at it, but he was good at so Rockets just played ISO and they just wanted bigs who could switch and wouldn't foul Harden, which is not easy to do when Harden was in his prime. And Jordan Bell was pretty good at it. He was good at it. He got on the court in what was one of the most intense series of peak Warriors dynasty basketball.
Yeah, I mean he was,
and then he
was good in that game 7.
Yeah, he was very good in that game 7.
I mean, shoot, who else do we have here? I mean,
Smiley. Smiley's a very important one because he signified the change of who was making the picks from basketball personnel to Lacob personnel.
Yes, very much so. I mean, I loved Eric Paschall. I loved him. I thought he had a real future. Shoot, can I give a Charles Jenkins shout?
Okay. The chat's throwing Monte Ellis. Monte was obviously,
of course,
for a second round pick. Monte is about as good as it gets. And my favorite second round pick outside of Draymond will always be Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah,
Gil. This one sticks with me because I was in middle school, maybe high school. It was like 8th grade, 9th grade. He was the first player they got with any sort of juice since I was in 4th grade. Like they went from like Chris Webber, Latrell Sprewell, Tim Hardaway, which was like my first memory as like a little kid. And I wasn't contextualizing. I just knew they had cool players who did cool things, right? Like that's like an 8-year-old version of basketball, right?
Yeah.
Then they, Chris Webber gets traded. Sprewell chokes out a coach, which like, imagine explaining that to like a 9-year-old, you know? Like, oh, he choked out his coach. I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't like his coach. That's normal. You know, like, I don't know. Anyway, now you know how my brain is warped. And then they were so bad for so long. They weren't even good with Gil, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like, you know, when you see a player, you're like, oh, that guy's worth paying the price of admission for, right? And he was their best player by the end of his 2nd year. And then they lost him.
Because he only signed because it was a weird like mid or early 2000s thing where he only signed a contract for 2 years because he was a 2nd round pick, right? Wasn't it something weird like that?
It's literally the Gilbert Arenas rule.
Yeah, so right.
They didn't have the cap space to offer him the extension that he clearly warranted, and so they lost him. Now, if you have a 2nd round pick, you can supersede bird rights to keep your guy because of the Gilbert Arenas rule. But back then, they literally lost him because the Wizards had or it might have been the Bullets at the time. No, it was the Wizards at the time. They had the ability to offer him whatever was a big contract number at that time, and the Warriors couldn't. And like my childhood Warrior memory is just kind of like, you suck. And even when you find a good player, you find a way to fucking lose them. You know, like that's kind of the way I processed it. Great player. Great, you know.
Incredible player.
Wizards team, I was so envious that Wizards team because Antoine Jameson was on the Warriors. It's not like he was better on the Wizards, but it looked better because it was a better team. And so, you know, you were hoping Antoine Jameson was going to be better on the Warriors than do anything. No,
I mean, Gilbert is a fun one.
Childhood.
Gilbert is a fun one because, like, you know, we always see like that dumb stuff where like people don't understand how good like white chocolate was, or people like, you know, people don't understand how good this guy was. And like Gilbert gets some of that too, but he actually was that good. Like I like vividly remember
60 on Kobe.
60. I vividly remember that because that was like the peak of my Lakers hatred. Like the Lakers actually sucked, and I was hate watching every single game. And I went because all my best friends were Lakers fans. I talked so much shit the next day at school after Gilbert dropped 60 because I was like I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade. So it was like perfect timing, you know, but like he got MVP votes. Like Gilbert averaged 30 a game in like an NBA where was that it was not as easy to do. He was an incredible scorer.
No, him and Baron Davis are
Yeah.
really like important for my just kind of like growth and just like my memories of like childhood and like high school and Warriors fandom and everything. And like both of them will not be remembered for as good as they were because their peaks were short lived and injuries kind of cut them short. Like I think history will. I think history will remember Russell Westbrook as a better player than both of them, and I think they're both better than the best version of Russ.
Ooh, that's a hot take. I'm not saying I'm going to disagree, but that's hot.
But I don't think. Okay, here's a better way to put it. I don't think they're not on that level.
Okay,
but Russ obviously has a decade of achievements because he didn't have the injuries, and then he actually. Honestly, if you remove the KD years, like honestly, his teams were not any better than those guys' teams. They're all first round outs anyway, you know?
Yeah.
But he has the memories of being next to KD on the OKC teams that did really well. Like when he was the best player on a team, they did not do any better than Gilbert Arenas or Baron Davis's team.
I'll put it this way. If 06 Gilbert Arenas, who averaged 30 a game, third team All NBA, if he is on the 2016 OKC Thunder, do they have a better chance of beating? I mean, they still went to 7. But yeah, I mean, I had never
because he could shoot the fuck out of the ball.
I mean, yeah, he was shooting. I'm looking at his stuff on Basketball Reference right now. He was taking 8 threes a game in 2007 and shooting like 37%. Nobody was doing that.
He was closer to like James Harden than he probably gets credit for. And again, injuries cut him short at 25, 26. Yep. We don't really know what happens, but it's like the Harden, it's the Dame Lillard. Like he was that level of guard in his era, only he blew out his knee at 25, 26. So we never saw what it looked like when he hit 29 continually playing, you know?
And surgeries weren't as good and teams just weren't as cautious about stuff. Like I remember they tried to bring him back early and it didn't go well. Like nowadays they would have been like, he's out for the whole year. We're not even testing it. We'll see him in 12 months. You know, but that's just not how the NBA worked in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, for sure. It's it is what it is. Those are my second round memories. We should pay a bill real quick.
We should do that. Light Years are brought to you by Lucy nicotine pouches. Lucy nicotine pouches are 100% pure nicotine and always tobacco free. Lucy breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken up to release extra flavor and hydration. Set yourself up for a subscription today and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. You guys are probably tired of hearing this at this point, but Lucy wintergreens are my favorites. 12 milligrams, one every morning with my coffee. It's the best way to start my day. If you have not done these before, do not get the 12 milligram. Go with something easier like a 4, or get the Lucy breakers that they don't hit quite as hard because they got that little extra hydration pack in there. So that'd be my advice. So level up your nicotine routine with Lucy today. Go to lucy.co/lightyears and use promo code lightyears to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that is lucy.co and use code lightyears to get 20% off. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age and have every order age verified. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Ooh, the Warriors made a signing, and it's a local boy, Chance McMillan.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Exhibit 10, yeah.
Vallejo. Yeah, no, I like it. I think he play. I mean, it's a G League player. Let's be honest, but like I like the signing. I'm excited about this. I also think it's we'll see where this lands, but I'm excited about the moves they make on the back end of the roster. I get way too excited about the moves they make on the back end of the roster. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You're such a hipster. But I mean,
it is. It's like part of the. But like the reality is, the better they do on the back end, the easier it is to be like, fuck it, trade 3 guys for 1. You know,
yeah.
The easier it is to be like, buddy, I love you. I will always remember Game 7. But you're in the trade. You're in the trade. You know, like because you feel. I don't want to actually do that one. But like to me, he's like stamped for his moment. You know what I'm saying? So
totally. I mean, something happened after McMillan transferred from GCU, Grand Canyon University, because like not a great shooter there, but I mean 38% on 5 threes a game as a senior and then as a super senior, 5 threes game at 43% and shot 91% from the free throw line as a senior, and then 88% as a super senior. So I mean,
89%
there.
To be clear.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The shooting's there. The shooting's there. So I mean, I guess if you're going to take a swing on something after the draft they just had, definitely take a swing on a guy who can put the ball in the bucket.
I'm going to take this to a different way. It does seem like the draft is valuing guys who project as role players more so, and guys who, like, he is more talented with the ball than Richard or Tui. But there are less spots for guys like that in the NBA. Every team needs like 10 Richards, you know what I'm saying? Like, whereas like how many spots on a roster are there for a guy who is, you know,
1 or 2,
right? Yeah. There's the starter, there's the backup, and then there's like the 6.
Oh, you're saying right? Total. Yeah. You're saying, okay, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and not that like those guys are just kind of a dime a dozen. Like how many highlight tapes do you see from Europe where it's like, why doesn't Mike James have an NBA contract? Because he's like dropping 30 in a game over in Europe or China.
And he's talented. He's like good enough to play in that. Like he can play in an NBA run, obviously.
Totally. But it's like the stuff that he does, Damian Lillard's doing the same shit and he's way better at it. Steph Curry's doing the same shit and he's way better at it than you. So
Jordan Poole's doing the same shit and he's better at it, you know? Yeah, exactly. there's like 60 of those jobs in the NBA.
Right.
Whereas there's the 3-and-D role player. Every roster wants like 8 of those guys. 8 times 30 is 240. Like, let's call it 200. There's 200 of those jobs, whereas there's only 50 of the Mike James jobs.
Essentially,
it's a numbers game. It's like, very simple.
It's like quarterbacks versus wide receivers in the NFL, right? Like you need 2 quarterbacks, maybe 3 for insurance, but you need 5, 6, 7, 8 receivers. Like nobody has 8, but you know what I mean? Like it's the same concept.
Yeah, it is exactly the same concept. It's, if it was football, it's an imperfect analogy. It's like you want guys who can cover space and play a role. Yep. So receivers, DBs, linebackers, those type of guys.
Yeah.
But there's only one quarterback. You know, there's only one guy who's you know, it's you got him, you got his backup, you got the third stringer too. You know, like it's just it is where the league is right now. So I think the draft actually kind of shows it too. You see, like, if you look at the second round, everyone's picking guys who they're hoping are 3-and-D wings or 3-and-D bigs, you know, or rim running bigs. Like, are you a big man role player or a wing role player?
Mm-hmm.
No one's really being like taking guys or like Bryce Williams is actually a perfect example. We spent a lot of time talking on the pre-draft pod about him. Talented player, better with the ball than both the guys the Warriors picked.
Way better.
But does he project better as a role player than both those guys?
And
maybe not. But like clearly, like that's probably the mental calculus the Warriors were doing. How does he look as the 4th or 5th guy whose job it is to just defend and fucking play his ass off?
And again, I think this kind of comes back to the point we made earlier, right, with Kobe Bryant, where it's like you want guys who are going to be like your ball handlers, your creators. You want them to have proven it at an NBA level because NBA defense is so tough to figure out for young players, especially if you're going to be like the creator, the lead guy running a second unit for 12 minutes a night. You want, you know, a Jordan Clarkson or a Colin Sexton, a guy who has proven he can do that, as opposed to a guy who you don't know can do it. And then, you know, draft guys who can, at least in the second round now, draft guys who are just going to do all the dirty work, you know, because like that's, if they're already doing it in college or doing it wherever they're playing at, that's much easier to translate. Like that stuff usually travels.
And then if you are amazing at the draft, then you are the Thunder or the Pacers who are able to find those dirty work guys, but they also have juice at the ball.
Yeah.
You find a Nembhard in the second round. You find Aaron Wiggins in the second round. And that's the dream, you know, that it really is the dream to find the guy who plays like he has no skill, like in terms of effort level, but they actually have a little juice with the ball and can do stuff at an NBA level. But if it was that easy, I promise you, Nembhard would have gone top 10 in the draft.
Totally.
If everyone saw it, you know, it's like the Draymond thing. If everyone saw it, he would have lasted to the second round. At least Bob Myers is honest about it. That's actually like my favorite thing about Bob. Anytime people try to give him credit for taking Draymond in the second round, he's at least honest enough to be like, dude, if I thought he was this good, I would have took him the first round.
He's like,
promise you.
He goes, we took Festus Ezeli first.
Yeah.
Izzo had to blow up our phone so we would pick him.
Yeah. It's the reality of it, which is like, bro, if I knew he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, you think I'm gambling on him being there at 35? You know,
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly. So much luck plays into this stuff, but you know, it's not like I've come away from the draft tonight like, oh my God, they did a great job. It's just kind of a wait and see thing. Like I like the tools that the guys that they picked have. Would I have liked somebody that can score the basketball? Sure, but again, for the 10th time, I'd rather go find that in free agency or via trade because at least we know they can score at an NBA level.
And that's where we're getting to, right? Like the draft going before free agency almost feels backwards for the Warriors, right? Yeah. Because in the second round, they're always going to be looking at guys who it's like, all right, can you give us what Guy Santos gave us? Can you give us what Quentin Cook gave us? Or sorry, Quentin Post or Quentin Cook, to be honest. But like, can you give us what Quentin? Yeah, can you give us that back end roster production with like the allure of upside where we develop you to be a little more in 2 years from now, right? And they need that, but that's just simply not where my head is right now. My head right now is the front eight of the rotation.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did essentially draft guys who I don't want to say probably can play a role this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them did. Let's put it that way. It wouldn't shock me if both, I'm not saying day one they're going to be in the rotation, but when guys get hurt in January, I wouldn't be shocked if they're giving solid minutes for 10 to 12 minutes a game.
January 23rd. They are 20-18.
Oh God.
They've been playing miserable basketball for about 15 games. You and I are generally annoyed until he gets thrown out there and plays with a level of energy we haven't seen since November. And it's like a fucking God has looked down on us from above. It's like, where has this been? And then we get on the pod and we give the most ridiculous comps because it's been a fucking month since we've seen someone play that hard. I'm so ready for it.
Why would you even put that into the universe, man? 20-18.
It's gonna happen, dude. It's gonna happen.
Well, okay.
Okay, fine. Okay, 23 and 14. Who cares? You know?
Perfect. Now that you say that, though, maybe Kerr's a way for Kerr to approach the season is like, I hope they get out to a hot start. I think that is going to be big for them, as we've said the past 3-4 seasons, it feels like. But maybe you start going to these back end rotation guys a little bit earlier in the season if you get off to a good start, just to like keep some life into the team. Because it feels like kind of when they've died is like when Steph and Draymond hit a little bit of a lull, or like the older guys don't have, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I do think they need to approach, and not that Steve doesn't, they were playing 11, 12 guys last year, but approach it with that same kind of holistic approach where it's like, we're going to see what a lot of these guys have. Maybe not day one, but 6 weeks into the season when Jimmy needs a rest tonight, hey, Alex Tui, you're playing 15 to 20 minutes tonight. You know, Steph needs a rest. Well, Richard, you're playing 15 to 20 minutes tonight. And like, let's see what these guys have early on, just so we can get a feel for where we need to go with the season.
I mean, doesn't it just require just building a better roster of guys who kind of are wired that way? Like no agendas roster, like going down the list. Like the last time they had that type of start was obviously 2022. 2021, 2022, and they won the title. So like, you know, that's the obvious, the best case result for that. But like one of the things I will take away from that team is they had 12 playable dudes, even though they did not play 12 or 13 dudes every night. And so there was a Quindary, or was it Quindary Weatherspoon?
Yeah.
Witherspoon.
Christmas Day.
I mean, that was like his highlight, but like he played a nice role for them, like for a couple months there, right? Like
I was disappointed when they let him go. Like after that season,
I really thought there was a little more there. I thought there was a little juice. Yeah,
I was like, he can kind of be your GP2, like because GP2 left and then they didn't keep Witherspoon around. And I'm like, what the hell? You just kind of lost that like archetype, that kind of bully defensive guard.
Yeah, and like Bielitsa. You know, he's older, but like he played with a certain amount of like energy and shooting the ball and just going up and down the roster. Yeah. So that's what I'm actually going to be curious about, because like we're going to get to it. Not today. Honestly, I thought about it. I don't think anything's happening before the 30th for the worst. I think it's just going to be a bunch of Shams leaks and like teasing, and you and I getting on live stream and crashing out, and you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where it's going to be for a couple days, because nothing can really happen till the 30th.
Well, first of all, I want to give us kind of a golf clap here for not mentioning Jonathan Kuminga until 50 and a half minutes into the podcast.
The mentions are going to say we're haters, and
100%.
You know, it's going to be some 12-year-old talking shit. So,
well, I love it. But you know, it does seem like, just very briefly here, like it does seem like stuff is, no pun intended, heating up on that front. You know, like Sam's mentioned again today that the Heat are interested, and Zach Lowe said it today on his podcast that he released about the draft. Like he has heard that there is real smoke to the Kuminga to the Heat stuff. So we'll see. That doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but it is good that there's at least some interest, so they can buzz up some kind of a market.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna say this. I went from 65% he's coming back to now I'm leaning 65% sign and trade.
Ooh, really?
And
Sam sources.
My opinion will probably change tomorrow. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You're a very fickle man.
I got a lot of emotions. But it does feel like both sides think it's for the better to end up there. And then now it's just like, can they pull it off? Are they going to be happy? Is Joe going to get, 11th hour stage fright or whatever you want to say? Like, we'll see. But I'm ready. I'm ready to just be done with it. I'm ready to, figure out and then just talk about what it is after that.
Yeah. No matter what the outcome, let's get it figured out. Cause everything just feels like prelude into that part, prologue, whatever word you want to use. It all just feels like everything's kind of hanging into the balance. Like you said the other day, the skeleton key, until they can get that figured out. Once they do, now we can talk about what the outlook is for next season. But until then, it all just feels like, we're just kind of waiting.
All right. I gotta grind some tape. I gotta go watch some Alex Stewie.
I'm literally hopping onto my couch. Time to grind tape till midnight.
Appreciate everyone. We'll be back here tomorrow night.
Thanks, everybody.